Oh, good morning and welcome to the Wake.Show. Happy Taint Week, happy Grundle Week. It's a little area between Christmas and the New Year. And we have a good show for you today. We'll have on Eric to yell at us. He's not yelling at us yet. Eric from TNL Nutrition Coaching.
I'm sure he'll get there.
Yeah. He'll be on about 8:45, and I think we've been doing good. You know, we're getting ramped up, I think, for all of us to start, our diets next week. And so one of the things he's been having us do is load in our food every single day into an app called My Fitness Pal.
Right.
And so I did this morning. I went back a couple of days. So I loaded in yesterday and I loaded in the day before. Although Christmas Day was very difficult to load in. Let's see. Do they have breakfast casserole? They do have breakfast casserole. How many servings? Let's go with 3. And then they just piled on the calories from there. How you doing this morning, sir?
I fell off the wagon. I fell off the tracking wagon. So
I'm sure it's not easy over the holidays.
I'm gonna try, and so I'm gonna try to go back as far as possible, add in as much as I can, but so far I need to get back on board.
Well, welcome this morning, whether you're watching us on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Periscope, Twitter, or listening to just the audio version on Mixlr. Thank you so much for joining us, and we do have a big announcement to start the show with. Right after stuff you should know.
I was going to say.
Right after stuff you should know. Here's stuff you should know on the Wake.Show. The eastern United States and Midwest are being clobbered with a brutal cold front that will stretch through the week and probably make New Year's Eve a frigid affair in many cities after an unusually cold Christmas. Quote, more of the country will be dealing with this bitter cold. We'll have one Arctic blast tonight, another towards the end of the week and into the weekend. He said that 48 million people were under a wind chill advisory last night. Jeez. Shares of U.S. department stores jumped on Tuesday as MasterCard Incorporated said shoppers spent more than $8 billion during the season, more than ever before, boosted by growing consumer confidence, rising unemployment, and early discounts. The richest people on earth became $1 trillion richer in 2017, more than 4 times last year's gain, as stock markets shrugged off economic, social, and political divisions to reach record highs. I guess the way they measure this is they take the 500 richest people in the world and do the math from there.
Okay.
And so that number, the gain this year in that crowd, the top 500 richest people, 4 times more than it was last year, reaching $1 trillion, which is, I can't even wrap my head around.
Good for them.
Good for them. Deputies arrested a man they say left 3 young children on the side of a busy road on Christmas night. A Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office says 54-year-old James William was in a crash along Turkey Creek Road in Plant City and then fled the scene on foot. He has a long criminal history. So, leaving the children in a state of panic. Family members say the children are 7, 10, and 11 years old. Not only that, but he tried to get them to help him get over a wall so he could escape as the kids are screaming and crying. Sorry, I don't want to get all judgy this early in the morning. What a piece of shit. Rihanna has called for an end to gun violence. Oh, by the way, the very end of the story, we'll get into the detail. I'll save it.
Yeah.
The last line of the story is the best part. We'll save it. Rihanna has called for an end to gun violence after the death of a man she named as her cousin. The singer posted a picture of herself with a young man who is believed to have been killed in a shooting in her native Barbados on Boxing Day. She writes, R.I.P. cousin, can't believe it was just last night I held you in my arms. Never thought that would be the last time I felt warmth in your body. Love you always, man. Hashtag end gun violence. And Bucks defensive tackle Silver Saliga. Do you know this name?
No.
Sealver. Silver. Saliga stopped. I know I'm not even close. Stopped in a South Tampa Applebee's for a dinner on Christmas Eve. Chatted it up with the people there. Realized, man, most people are home with their families on Christmas Eve, but there they are. We got a dozen people in the restaurant here that are all working. Toughing it out.
It's incredible when you think about how many people do that. I mean, I spent Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Well, no, Christmas Day here in Tampa, but Christmas Eve in Orlando. And you got to imagine the thousands of employees that are working Christmas Eve and Christmas Day just to make Orlando happen, right? Just to make all those theme parks run as they do every single day.
Well, they're also hoping for these moments, too. These moments when a Tampa Bay Buccaneer happens to roll through your Applebee's and he calls over the manager and says, how many people are working tonight? And he goes, all right, here you go, and tips $1,000. Gives everybody, I guess it was 10 people working that night, and gives everybody an extra $100, and not just the servers and bartenders either, but also the cooks, the people cleaning up the kitchen, everybody who was working that night. He tipped an extra $100. Oh, look, 4 minutes into the show, and Fish is already tearing up. Good for him. And that is stuff you should know for today, for Wednesday, December 20. We'll go with 7th.
There's one of these, another similar story I saw, which was a guy who left a $3,000 tip on his server's bill. It was like on a $30 bill, and he left a $3,000 tip.
We'll get to some of the stories of the day here in just a second. But like I said, oh, damn it, I left my phone downstairs. I went downstairs to it. By the way, man, I know that there's some controversy, around Keurig. And
there is?
Well, somewhat. Like the guy who invented the machine regrets it. I don't know if you ever saw that or not.
No.
Yeah, he in a very quick, very short order went. It was one of those like Einstein, "What have I done?" moments, and that was going back to the A-bomb, but yeah, because of the cups themselves, he just realized that, man, I'm adding tons and tons of unnecessary plastic to the environment.
Correct.
Correct. Yes, you are, sir. But you also asked a
horrible human being.
He also added tons and tons of cash to his wallet. So there's that balance there.
Well, and now that there's a corporation that owns it, right? I don't think he still owns it, right? I don't know.
I don't know.
But the truth is that the biggest frustration in all of this, because I'm not like a regular coffee drinker, is that you can't operate that machine. Like, they're intentionally making it harder and harder to operate that machine without their stupid little cups. Like the
that's
newer,
what it's designed for.
Right, the newer ones. No, but the newer ones now have like some little code or some little microchip or something in it where it won't work. Like if you're not using like
their specific K cup.
Oh yeah. Like you can't even use like the little like plastic one that you can replace. Like now they're making you use like the K cups. Like now there's like a little workaround you have to do, because it's got like some sensor on it or some nonsense like that.
Well, they also have some now, or you buy a little thing that looks like a little filter, and you can put your own coffee in there, and then it's supposed to work too.
They have that workaround, but again, it's the workaround. Like they didn't make that; somebody else made that, and they actually are making it harder for people to use those sort of workarounds.
All right. Well, anyway, it is ingenious. It is awesome to be able to, you need coffee in a pinch, and 1 minute later, maybe tops 3 minutes later. Yeah. 3 minutes later, you got a hot cup of coffee. Absolutely genius. And thank you so much, because we got one for Christmas.
Well, I've been wanting to try the soup, and I think they also make like hot chocolate inserts, like depending on the model you have.
A soup one?
Oh yeah.
Huh. I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just kind of brothy.
I don't know. I've never tried it. I mean, I haven't heard one way or the other, but I mean, it seems like it would work. I mean, it's just boiling water.
How are the levels this morning, sir?
So, you know what? I should have checked. No, it looks good.
All right, check. You
could probably bring them down just a smidge.
And that's what I was thinking.
Also, I need you to email me that thing we were talking about before the show.
That you didn't get earlier?
Yeah.
Of course. It's in my damn phone.
Okay.
Son of a...
It's all right. Well, maybe we could take a little music break here later on.
Okay. Let's do that. Well, how about this? How about we hit our major announcement?
Okay.
Our big announcement, and then I'll pull up. What do you want me to pull up? Something from Bake More Pies?
Yeah, we could do the last one. They were really cool. There's a group called American Songbox.
American Songbox. And by the way, I talked to Chris McCarty yesterday.
Oh, cool.
And a singer-songwriter here in the Bay Area. A lot of you know who Chris McCarty has been playing around these parts for quite some time. And so he's going to come by next Thursday morning and sit in on the show and play a couple of songs for us then. But
nice.
Our big announcement this morning is tectonic.
Wow.
It is. I mean, it's a shift. It's plate tectonics.
Yeah.
Right here in this room, and there's somebody on this show that is moving on to bigger and better things, and that person is not me. That person is Johnny Torres.
Oh man!
And so start the congratulations right now in the comment sections, because out of nowhere, or somewhat out of nowhere, he gets a job offer of a lifetime. Tell me more about it, Johnny.
Yeah, it was somewhere. It was somewhere out of nowhere, because I knew this role was out there, but I wasn't actively vying for it. And then suddenly I was approached to take it on, and so it's been awesome to be able to do this show for a couple months now. And I think we're, if you count the unofficial episodes, we're probably at about 3 months now. But life sometimes, throws you a curveball and wants to send you in a different direction.
And you're going to knock that out of the park.
I hope so. That's the plan.
Are you a big lefty or a big righty?
I'm lefty.
All right. Knock it. You got that big Fred McGriff swing.
Yeah,
knocking it out of the park, but you haven't even laid out exactly what has happened yet.
No, but that being said, I mean, look, this is not a reflection on obviously anything we're doing here with the show or Bake More Pies. I absolutely love it here. It's easily been one of my favorite places to work. But Senator Marco Rubio, a couple weeks ago, he and his staff asked me to join them as their district representative for the Tampa Bay area. And so I will be his representation here in Tampa Bay, overseeing 6 counties, likely a small staff. And like I tell people, anything that came after radio, which I left back in 2006, was not in the plans. I made no plans after radio, and everything that's happened since has been a blessing and has been an incredible opportunity. I've been able to do some very cool things, and I continue to be blessed with an opportunity like this. And when a sitting U.S. Senator, specifically my favorite politician, comes and asks you to join his team, you kind of do as you're asked. It's kind of hard to say no.
And this is not you're not joining his campaign.
Correct.
You are going to work for the federal government.
That's exactly
How's
right.
that make you feel? How's that make you feel, you small government you're Republican?
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm pretty sure I'm getting a smaller salary than anybody else on the staff.
And I'm getting a small office.
That's right. And so... yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I never set out to work in politics. Never set out to work in government. I've turned down other political jobs. It's something that I enjoy doing as a hobby. And again, this is on the constituent services side. This is as
what's
a
that
part
mean?
Of
a constituent services side.
Constituent services, right? Exactly. So I'll be as part of his official office, under the office of the Senate, and my role will be to not only maintain and build relationships with the business community and the military community and community leaders here in Tampa Bay, but also that when people have issues with the federal government, of course, here in Tampa Bay, there's constant issues when we talk about Veterans Affairs. There's also IRS issues. Sometimes it's something as simple as passport issues. Those people don't know. A lot of people don't know that you can call your congressman or your senator to help you kind of smooth some of these things out. And
so you'll be that liaison when they make that phone call to try to track down Marco Rubio. They're not going to get to him, but they'll get to you.
Right, exactly. And so I will help them begin that process to get that issue resolved for them on behalf of the senator's office. And that part is still kind of very cloudy for me because I've never done anything like that, and I don't know all the specifics or how that necessarily works. But basically, again, if you have issues with a government agency and you want the assistance of one of your congressional leaders, you can go to your congressman or to your senator.
Is Marco Rubio my congressman?
He's your senator.
He's my senator?
Yes.
He's representing the entire state, not just a district like a congressman might, right?
That's right. So Marco has an office or a representative in every region of the state. So Orlando, Miami, Southwest Florida, Tampa Bay, Central Florida, Northeast Florida, Northwest Florida.
And you basically are going to be reopening a district or an area that didn't have a lot of service for quite some time, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, the Tampa Bay office has been closed, I guess, for lack of a better term, over the past year because they got kicked out of a few office buildings due to a constant presence of protesters.
Right. I remember Schreiner and I doing those stories when we were on the AM station and talking about how the protesters were running Rubio out of each one of these offices because the complexes themselves are like, listen, man, you're paying your rent. We appreciate that. But because you're here, it's causing a hassle for every other tenant that's here.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to ask you to leave.
Well, that's exactly right. And they were causing issues when it came to parking. They were obviously disrupting others during their workday. They were making it difficult or intimidating for people to get in and out of the building. And so there were two different buildings that basically asked him to leave. And so over the past year, it's been a matter of
how are you
finding adequate office space to handle that kind of a situation.
Well, how are you going to deal with those rowdy liberals now?
No, look, I know some of them, so I'm hoping to maybe
a couple liberals.
Yes, believe it or not, it's remarkable. No, I'm friends with them, and so. I hope that maybe I can sit down with them, before the new office is open, or even once the new office is open, and just kind of, show them that they have somebody that's willing to listen to them, because oftentimes that's what people really want, is just somebody to listen to them and what they stand for and what they believe in. And we'll be in the federal courthouse, just like Senator Bill Nelson is, and so their activities will be somewhat limited by that.
And where is that?
Downtown.
Okay.
Downtown Tampa.
All right, so you won't be too far from here.
No, not at all.
Oh, if you're just tuning in this morning, thank you so much. You're listening to Fisher and Johnny Torres. As Johnny Torres makes his announcement that he's exiting the show, also his role here at Bake More Pies, and moving into politics. Not to run for anything, but to go work for a sitting senator, that is Marco Rubio. And
yeah,
and
most
good
people,
for you, man.
And thank you. No, again, there's pretty much only, I think, two people that could have convinced me to leave this job here, and one of them is Senator Rubio. The other would have been some sweet gig at the White House. And so
what is it about Marco Rubio? Because you were attracted to his politics going way back. Johnny Torres, if you missed another episode of the show, was talking about how you remember, back before he was on the presidential scene, you guys just chilling, having coffee, talking about what, taking over the world?
I met him 8 years ago when he started running for Senate. And
he looks so young. Like when you say 8 years ago, I'm like, so that's when he was 21?
Yeah, I know, right?
But he's not that. He's 40.
He's in his early 40s.
Yeah,
I mean,
age.
it's and he's got a beautiful young family, and really, it was by pure chance. I happened to be with the Young Republicans actually touring the new Bucks facility, because it was new at the time, right here, right over on Martin Luther King, and then afterwards, a buddy of mine's like, hey, there's this guy that's thinking of running for Senate. He's going to go speak at this restaurant over in Rocky Point. Do you want to go? And this was when Krabby Bill's was still at Rocky Point. And I said, yeah, sure, whatever. I didn't really have anything else going on that day, so I thought I'd go check him out. I'd never heard of him. I still was brand new to politics. And it just hit me. It just that I
the spirit overcame you.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I think for me, when people talk about how they felt about President Obama, like, I get it, right? Like, I get that excitement, that energy, that vision that he represents. So, to me, he's the future of the party. He's the future of the country. He embodies what this country is about. I mean, he talks in all of his stump speeches, he talks about how, his parents emigrated from Cuba and how his father was a bartender, his mother was a housekeeper. And that story is very similar to my own. My parents emigrated here on their own. My parents met here in the United States, but my dad worked in the sweatshops in Hialeah, and my grandfather was a building superintendent in New York City. and my mom was a teenager, and
And your mom was a teenager.
well, my mom was a teenager.
She was a
when they came
professional
over, and
teenager.
so she grew up. Yeah, she grew up here in New York City, and kind of made her own way. And neither of my parents have college education, but we lived very comfortably. We and had anything and everything we could ask for, and very fortunate. And I think they've achieved what they set out to achieve in terms of the American dream. And so when you look at our personal stories, there are many, many parallels, and that's why I'm drawn to him. And I continue to support him because I believe that he embodies what I believe in.
How painful was it to watch those missteps or those unfortunate events as he was running for president? Namely, mostly the water incident, going for that water because
water.
it's such a silly thing.
What water incident?
It's such a silly thing, but it's those kinds of things that get so much traction. And if you don't recall what I'm talking about, it's where he was making some speech and his mouth just went dry.
Yeah.
I mean, dry as dry can be, and he's fumbling around looking for water. It's just such an awkward moment
Sure.
on screen, which is so unfortunate. So anyway, as somebody who had gotten to know him by then, was supporting him, what was going through your gut in that moment?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to Katie Johnston and everybody saying good morning here in the comment section. But in that particular moment, yeah, it's kind of heartbreaking, right? Because it's like seeing your favorite athlete like just miss the big play, right? It's because he was delivering a response to the State of the Union, and this was kind of his big first national at bat, in front of the camera. But if there's one thing that, if you haven't noticed already about Marco, is that he always plays these situations off very well. He always knows how to spin it or make the right joke or capitalize on that moment.
But in that moment, he didn't.
Well, again, it's an awkward moment. There's only so much, and you want to stick to the script, right? Like you don't want to go off script when you have the largest nationally televised audience.
Did he get in his own head that night? Did he set himself up going, holy crap, this is my moment, my one shot? He had an Eminem rhythm in his head.
It could have been. I think even your most polished politicians, hell, Obama had a horrible first debate, when he was running against Romney. It just happens sometimes. The moment overwhelms you, no matter how good you are. It's going to overwhelm you. And I think he felt the pressure of that national spotlight in that moment. I don't think it was hugely detrimental to him anyway. And then what's even more amazing is that following that, I don't know if you remember, but he started fundraising off that moment by selling water bottles.
Oh, okay, good. I see what you mean by recovery. That it's good.
Yeah. And it actually reminds me of a story that happened even while he was running in 2008 and 2009, where he was scheduled to speak at a Strawberry Festival event in Plant City. It was a private dinner that was put on, and he was invited to be the speaker. Again, at this point, he was still virtually unknown. He's still polling probably in the single digits. And Plant City, being very rural, right, agricultural, like he kind of wanted to like give them a nod.
He wore overalls.
And so almost. And so I'm there, I'm hanging out, and they texted me and said, yeah, we're outside, and so I went outside to greet them before he came into the building, and he is wearing the tightest fitting plaid shirt I'd ever seen any straight man wear.
He borrowed it from his little brother.
So the story goes that on the way, that he's like, you know what, I should dress down. This is a little bit more of a casual event, and fit into the Plant City community and that sort of thing. So he kind of had the right idea, which is to kind of wear plaid and that sort of thing, kind of dress down a little bit. But apparently he went shopping by himself at Macy's and purchased the shirt. And by the time he put it on and everything, and the timing was just so tight, he just had to go with it. And what I specifically remember him asking me, he goes, so how does it look? And I I said it looks fine. I'm not about to tell a guy who's about to go speak in front of a few hundred people that his shirt looks terrible.
Yeah.
And so he went. He did his speech, and sure enough, the next day.
And then they flex at the end of the speech, and all the buttons pop off. I'm going to win this race.
How did you know? The Tampa Bay Times actually did a write-up on the shirt. They actually talked about, in a funny way, like not in a malicious way, but they talked about, the ill-fitting shirt. And I'm sure it's probably still on their website if you search for it. And his quote when followed up on for that story was, well, that's what happens when I go shopping without my wife.
Yep, exactly.
And so, again, he plays those moments off really well. And I think that's why I like him, because what you see is what you get. There's not this phony politician kind of act that he puts on. He is who he is, and whether he's on stage or whether he's meeting you privately, and so again, being
so once you start working for him, I can shoot you a text and get Marco Rubio on the show.
We might be able to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's open to it. If he's open to it, and I don't see why he wouldn't be. He likes to do this sort of thing. He's very good on Twitter.
What do you mean by this sort of thing?
Social media and
what do you mean by this sort of thing?
Well, that again, for some politicians, they won't waste their time. Like if you're like a blogger, or if you're
screw you, Johnny. Listen, if we're good enough and big enough for Paul Mercurio, then we're
That's
good.
True.
Then we're good enough for anybody.
That's absolutely right.
If we're good enough for celebrity chef Ricky P. Parsons, we're good enough for anybody.
Well, what I love about this show is that, and I know this will continue even after I leave, which is that we can do whatever we want with the show. We can have on whoever we want, and it wouldn't seem out of character. I mean, last week we went from acoustic music to RC cars and drones to makeup artists, and
that was my favorite show so far.
That was a really fun show.
Yeah, that was my favorite.
A little
show
chaotic, but that's part of what makes it fun.
Yep. Well, listen, man, it has been a pleasure working with you. You are very. Let me just turn to the camera and tell everybody a little bit about Johnny Torres. Very smart. Seems to have it together. I don't know him that well. Definitely somebody you want on your team. Hard worker, driven, and it seems to have that special kind of acumen that's going to get you far. So it doesn't surprise me that you get an offer like that to go work for a sitting senator.
Thank you.
Now, for those of you that are into politics, hardcore right wing, left wing stuff, on one either hey, you're like, man, good for you, buddy, or you're like, oh, you're gonna go work for the enemy. But I don't see it like that at all. I see it as this is 2017. We're in America, and somebody I know got asked to go work for a sitting senator. That's pretty cool. Now, what are we going to do with the show?
Right?
No, I'm being serious, Johnny. What are we doing? What am I going to do with the show once you leave?
Well, I don't know. I'll see you later.
You
I'm
do
out of
all
here.
this.
I'm out of here.
You do all this. I just sit here and do this part of it.
Yeah.
You do all the, you make sure that we're on and running every single morning.
Well, we're in the process of figuring that out. We've got an incredibly smart team here at Bake More Pies, and again, it won't be too far away. I'm always within reach, and so we're in the process of kind of figuring that out. We've already started conversations as to how best to restructure the show, whether it becomes as kind of a solo act, or
God.
With guests.
Don't want that.
Do we bring in somebody to run just the technical side, and then maybe add a co-host element, where we kind of divvy up those responsibilities? Because that's the thing. I mean, unless you watched the test episodes, a lot of people don't realize that I'm the one running the cameras, right? Because you don't see all this equipment sitting right in front of me. But it's been a lot of fun, and I think we'll be able to find somebody that is going to be a great fit for the show. And
I made some phone calls yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah, I left a message for TM Pal.
Oh, cool.
TM Pal's a television personality here in the Bay Area for quite some time. You guys will know him on the radio, too. He used to do call-ins, I think, at QYK, and a lot at 102.5 The Bone as well. But they let him go a couple weeks ago. And that is because I haven't called him in a couple years, so assuming the number that I called was his, I left him a message.
We might have to hit him up on Twitter because you've left him other messages and
he hasn't called me.
Haven't.
And he was always good about calling me back. So maybe I don't know what went down there. But I also called. Well, I told you I called Chris McCarty.
Right.
He's a good friend of mine, and he's been on the radio with me a few times over the years, and we've always had really good chemistry. But let's see. So he's going to come in next Thursday, sit in with us and play some music. As we tried to figure out what was going on, I even made a joke last night. Johnny had doing trivia out at a Boulevard Burgers. Packed house. Standing room only. Yes, people we were walking in and walking out. We were so packed last night. It was a great night.
That's bad. That's when you know it's good, when people are straight walking out because there's too many people there.
And then I feel bad because I'm taking up one of the tables to sit out for my trivia, and I'm trying to figure out ways. Man, there's got to be a way that I can hover outside and project back in, so I don't take up any tables in times like this, because that's money out of their pockets there.
Sure.
And so anyway, I even said last night, I was like, all right, because I always promo the show when I go out and do my gigs. I'll throw up the Facebook, up on one of the televisions there, let it play. And I said, well, my partner, Johnny Torres, is leaving the show. So is there anybody here with producing / on-air experience that wants to come work with the show? Nobody? Okay, well, let your friends know. I know this is a small industry when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Open casting call.
And made a couple other phone calls yesterday as well. Left some messages, so we'll see what happens there. But I'm very excited about your future. I'm excited and terrified about mine. Is there a certain amount of terror that's coming? Because I know you're excited about this, but there's also a huge chunk of this portion of this job that you've never tackled before.
Yeah, what's funny about that, and it comes from upbringing. My mom always taught me to capitalize on the opportunities that come at you. Even if it's something that's that maybe you're not 100% ready for. She always taught me to take advantage of every opportunity that came my way, and I've done that so many times now where I've maybe not been qualified or I haven't been ready to undertake certain roles, and it's turned out well. And so after a while, it's not that I've been skydiving, but I would imagine it's like skydiving where you just jump, you jump, and every jump gets a little easier.
All right. Well, good luck, and Johnny will be here through next week, right?
Yeah, through the 5th, I guess.
Man, that's no time at all.
Yeah,
I feel like you and I should just throw a party every morning between now and then.
Let's do it.
Just have a little fun. All right. Well, welcome to the Wake.Show this morning. As we continue to grow around here and shrink a little and then grow again. We really appreciate your support here in the beginning, and we're on a lot of platforms right now: Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, Periscope. And for those of you that just want the audio version, you can track us down on Mixlr. So I brought in the check. I haven't gone by PNC, Johnny, but I brought in the check, and I don't think it really matters. Like if I show you guys this check or not. Like you can get all the right. It doesn't matter. You can get all the numbers off this damn thing. I'll even walk it a little bit closer. Give me this camera right here. I'll even walk it a little bit closer for you. Let's see. Do a little less than this. All right, it doesn't matter that I'm showing this, right?
Looks official. I mean, hey, look, if somebody wants to try to cash that check, I mean, go right ahead. I wouldn't recommend it.
I'll give you the routing numbers there.
As long as it doesn't have your address on it or anything like that.
Yeah, I'll give you.
It looks legit, right? It looks. I mean, it has a legit looking company name on it and everything.
It came out of New York. And it said it was some moving company, something moving out of New York. And to catch you guys up real quickly, we got a phone call. Was it just last week? I guess 2 weekends ago now. Not this past weekend, but the weekend prior. And my wife put up for sale a couch that we have, that we're not going to keep, that we want to get rid of. Gets a ping back, and this was the Nextdoor app, I think.
Yep.
The Nextdoor, or maybe it's Offer Up. I can't remember which one of those two she was using. But anyway, somebody messages her and says, "Hey, I love it. And excuse me, I'll pay full price for it." Cool. And then they go, as a matter of fact, because if you could hold on to it for me, I'll have movers coming later in the week. I'll give you an extra 40 on top. So $290. My wife's like, all right, sounds good. And the woman goes, because of my circumstances, we're in the middle of moving and this and this and this, I have to pay by cashier's check. First red light, beep, 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 beep,
Right.
beep, beep, beep. So long story longer. It turns out to be a scam. You know, we get halfway through this process, the person keeps going back and forth, and this is where we get a little weird. And they go, well, first, when she walks in and says, hey, she tells me about the cashier's check thing, can I have your address? That was the first time that I went, that doesn't feel right. That doesn't seem right. And then it was after that we were like, okay, this is definitely not right, because then it gets to a part of the conversation where the text starts saying, listen, I'm going to write you a check for over the amount. So it's not going to be $290. It's going to be $2,150. My wife's like, I'm not comfortable with that. We're not doing it. I don't want to do that. She's like, well, no, please do, because I've got movers who are picking up various things, and you are going to give the extra money to them because they need the money to go pick up my other stuff, or whatever the BS excuse was. So that's when we shut down the conversation, and we even thought at that point, because my wife kept texting him back going, this doesn't seem right. I don't like this. I'm not comfortable with this, so on and so forth. And they kept working her too, man, but with also broken English, a lot of broken English. So I don't know what part of the world they said they were from. They said they were in South Dakota. But anyway, we were thinking that we wouldn't even get that check in the mail. But sure enough, a couple days ago, the check did come in the mail. Now, my wife called the cops. Johnny, she goes and puts on gardening gloves and grabs the envelope that this thing came in, gets a plastic bag like she's submitting evidence, puts it in there, seals it up tight, calls the cop and says, hey, listen, I've got this check, can run it down, maybe there's some fingerprints, da-da-da-da. And the cop said, sorry, we don't have time for that nonsense. And she was a little bummed, I got to be honest. And I was a little bummed too that they didn't want to have anything to do with it. So I tell Johnny about it, and Johnny's like, you should take it right down, because it's PNC Bank, right? And there's PNCs here in the Bay Area. Yeah. He goes, you should take it right down to PNC just to see what'll happen. Like, if you go, hey, here, can you cash this for me? And see if, what happens at that point. Because although this looks like a cashier's check, and we've all been raised to believe that cashier's checks are as good as cash, this is how they get you in the scam. But I guess this isn't good somehow. I still haven't figured out how this is not good, or how it is that they pull off that part of the scam. But the way the scam goes is you deposit this into your account, right? Then you wire, because this is what would happen. Because you're going, well, what would happen when the movers come? There's no movers. No movers would be coming. The next part of the scam, had we stayed on the line, by line, I don't mean phone line. I mean like hook, line, and sinker. If we'd have stayed hooked on the line, they would have said, oh, you know what? We can't make that move. Movers can't get to your area. But here's the thing. For all your trouble, why don't you keep the $290 I said I was going to give you, and keep the couch since I can't come get it, and just wire the difference to me. Western Union, the difference to me. And that's where the scam is, because then what you're doing at that point is you're wiring them your money. Yep. And the next thing you know, the bank's calling you or sending you a notice going, oh, by the way, that cashier's check is bogus. It's no good. And then you're out that money. So I'm gonna take it to the PNC. I know they're not going to give me any money, but I'll take it to them. Go, hey, listen, here's a scam. Try to track this person down and see if you can take off their head. And I want to see the look of the eyes in the person right before you. Fish. That seems like seems awfully violent. I tell you, I get in moments like these, the feeling inside of me is definitely a violent one. Have you ever had your car broken into? Have you ever had your house broken into? You know that feeling of violation, of just nauseousness when you realize somebody has been in your residence. You know. Somebody has been in your vehicle. It's a feeling that you don't want, and your brain goes into a certain mode to make sure that feeling doesn't happen again. All right. So anyway, I don't know. I guess I'm just going to run this down to the PNC and just give it to them.
I would. You don't know. I mean,
happens.
you know, at the very least, they'll know that, you know, these people are involved in some sort of scam. And while the cops couldn't or wouldn't do anything about it, PNC could. PNC could shut down that account or freeze it.
Yeah. And I would really like to know the origin. Like if they could track this back, they go, oh, yeah, by the way, this is Eastern Europe somewhere. Because I have a feeling it's not in America where this is originating from. But I could be wrong.
And you would think that you'd have to be in the country to open an account like that, but I guess not, as long as you can wire transfer money, right?
I guess. That's based really solely on two things. One, knowing that the majority or a lot of this stuff does come out of Eastern Europe. And secondly, because of the broken English along the way. But that doesn't mean it wasn't just some moron who was sitting in New York City. Yeah. I doubt they were in South Dakota. But, all right. So enough of scamming. We'll get to stuff you should know coming up here in just a little bit if you're just tuning in. Made the announcement this morning that Johnny Torres has got an amazing opportunity. We can't congratulate him enough. Please, in the comment sections, light him up with congratulations. Yeah. Got an offer from a sitting senator. This is not to just work on his campaign, which would be an honor of it within itself. You know, if somebody comes and asks for you to work on their campaign, is going to pay you to work in their campaign, but to say, hey, I want you to reopen some offices here in the Bay Area that have been closed for a little while, and handle the duties, the services of 6 counties. Yeah. That is just I can't even imagine what that feeling must have been like when you first got that offer.
It's incredibly flattering, and again, it's an honor because I will genuinely be serving the community. Again, this is not a political job. This is not a campaign job. Right. You know, he's not up for re-election for 5 years, and so this is a job to serve the Tampa Bay community, and so it's going to be tough because of the time and everything that I've invested here at Bake More Pies, and I love it here. And Cords has been an amazing support person, you know, to help me execute on a lot of the vision that he and I have shared for this agency. But he also understands the gravity of what's being asked of me, and you know, something that I've shared in some respects here on this show has been the friends that I've lost over this past year. I'd say over the last 6 to 9 months, I lost 3 friends this year, which is the most loss I've ever had in my life. I don't think I've ever even lost that many family members, and all of them were guys that were either A, committed to serving their community, or B, pursuing their ambitions, their dreams, and the opportunities that were presented to them. And so I felt like it would be a disservice to them and to myself if I didn't at least give this my best shot and see where it leads.
You were saying that was a very heavy influence on you is because of those things that just happened in your life over the past year. You know, it has you looking at life a different way. Absolutely. And making sure you take advantage of every opportunity that comes your way.
I actually had turned this job down previously. You know, they came to me, I think, early in the year because, again, they knew that they needed someone here, and they were the only holdup, the missing piece of the puzzle, was finding the office space. And at the time, I genuinely wasn't interested. And again, life has a way of kind of pointing you in the right direction and kind of making you realize, you know, the blessings that you have. And so after having lost my friends the way I did and seeing the way that they were pursuing their destinies and serving their community, I felt that I would probably regret it for a long time if I didn't at least give this a fair shot.
Well, I'm excited for you because they're going to be replacing you, or they're going to have to replace you here at Bake More Pies. Yeah. I know what you do on the show. What do you do for Bake More Pies?
Here, my title is Director of Communications, okay. Primarily managing the social media accounts for our clients. And the original intent was to do a bit of public relations, but that was easier said than done. And so really it evolved more into me taking a leadership role when it came to doing stuff like this, our live streaming efforts. And so, you know, we developed a program called the Condo Coaches, you know, which is currently on hiatus. We developed Bake More Music, which we still do in partnership with the Gasparilla Music Festival, and that's streamed live on the Bake More Pies Facebook page. And then not only doing this show on a daily basis, which has also helped us make leaps and bounds in terms of our skill set as an agency, but also hosting a lot of videos for our clients, because video is now such a central part of a pretty sound marketing strategy.
All right. So when I'm trying to get people in here, I'm going to sell them on. They're going to become the director of communications here at Bake More Pies.
Sure.
And the director of the show. And on-air support, director of the show. Because
ideally, yes. I mean, I'm sure Cords would love to, find someone with the skill set to be able to do both of those. Yeah.
Could I do that? Do I have the skill set for director? And be honest with me, you've worked with me now for 3 months.
Yeah. I think you'd like myself in my new role. I think there'd be a bit of a learning curve on some of the things that you'd be responsible for, but absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, it's we're both very technical guys. And so when it comes to running this show, I think
technical guys, you have to show me how to undo a screen every morning. Every morning, I'm looking behind me, going, "Hey, how do I get out of this screen?" So you're right. There would be a little bit of a learning curve there.
But really, the role downstairs is really where it's something I've been doing for the past 10 years, and it's been a lot of fun. And doing social media marketing. Some people like to oversimplify it, and then there's a lot of posers out there, for lack of a better term, who kind of sell their services and really have no clue what they're doing. And so there's a lot more to it than people realize. But the social media stuff has also been a lot of fun because it changes every single day.
Yeah. I'm excited because we're talking about the technical aspect. That somebody need to come in here and learn your role over there technically.
Yeah.
But I was coming from the radio career that I came from. It was not up north. It was here in the South. Mm-hmm. So it's not like you had, if you're up north and you're in a union city, you've got a guy that's editing your phone calls and a guy that's running your board and a guy that's doing this and a guy that's doing that. Down here, you do all your shit yourself.
That's right.
For the most part. And so I've always been used to having everything around me. Like I wish we could cut to a wide of you right now to show everything that's it looks like like an old like the beginning of Knight Rider, for those of you that remember when he first got into the night industry 2000.
Well, here, hold on, you just give me a second. I can grab that little computer webcam.
And I think when Michael Knight first got into a kit, he said something about this looking like Darth Vader's bathroom. Well, I would say that's a good representation, a good description of what he's got going on over there.
Yeah, I'm going to turn on this webcam here for a second.
But I'll tell you, Johnny, as you're setting that thing up, man, there's a part of me that wants to go, hey, I'll take over all that stuff. I'll do all the technical stuff too. And I'm not even sure about bringing somebody else in. Well, Mr. Ego, you think you can do the show by yourself? I mean, I can. Will it be as good? No, because I'm always better 100% of the time when I'm bouncing off somebody else, when I have somebody else to work off of.
Absolutely. It's because you're getting that response, and that helps you kind of drive the direction of the show.
But if we can set up a system in here where I've got the, in real time, the messages coming from Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. Well, can we get rid of all the ones from Periscope? Holy God.
Is it all spam?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and they're all hello, regard, ciao, ciao.
We've got an international audience on Periscope.
Yeah, no, with kissy faces and hearts after it. These are all bots that are trying to suck you into their their camera, with a video cam girl world.
We're gonna switch over to the webcam here.
All right.
Let's see. Oh, wrong button. Here we go. Figures, right? All right, so this gives people an idea of more or less my view. Actually, it's more of like this, because I can't actually see him entirely because he's behind that big light. So that's how we have Fish lit up. And then back here, we've got our iMac kind of running the show here on, and graphics and things like that.
So what program am I going to have to learn? Is it OBS or is it Mimo or is it both?
We don't want to give away our company secrets.
Okay, no. All right, my bad.
But yeah, there's software that we use to be able to live stream, and especially now where we're live streaming simultaneously to Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. Hey, everybody. So, yeah, this camera is way more sensitive to light. Yeah, so can you learn it? Absolutely. I think this could be a one-man show, but as you and I both know, that's a much harder endeavor to take on.
I think I could pull it off, listen, I can pull it off, but to have it be compelling day in, day out, and have it be successful. There we go. Have it to be a successful show. But that is if I can get all the messages in real time constantly, and we get the call-in feature down to, so the bringing in people, I think interviews would, I'd have to, in a 2-hour show, I think I'd have to have a minimum of, 4 people booked every day. Even if there's short conversations about
that'd be the challenge, right? Because you don't have anybody to bounce stuff off of.
Right.
I would say at least 2. I think you can fill between stuff you should know and a guest. You could fill most of the hour.
I had a thought yesterday. I almost called you and Cords. What if we turn it into a bit, a quest, where it's I don't know if you guys remember back when I was at X, we did a bit called Fishing for Love. Because one of the running jokes on the show is just how year after year after year I couldn't find love, and so we did a year. It was called Fishing for Love. It was a 5-week promotion that we ended up getting backing on and taking out to the clubs and making a big deal out of it to find love for me, and it didn't work. But I wonder if we do something similar where it's finding I don't know, putting together Tampa Bay's next big morning show kind of thing, because that's how we're looking at what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Is we feel like we are going to get to a point where there are as many people interacting with this show weekly as the average television and radio shows, morning shows and midday shows.
Sure.
Here in the Bay Area, where we're on that level. And So maybe we just do a contest then. We do something that's a 4-week promotion. We got a big meeting this afternoon, or after the show today. Maybe get a big sponsor behind it. Yeah. Take it out into the into the public, out into the city, and see if we can find that person to fill your role.
Well, and you and I know that there are plenty of other people who've been through the radio industry or the broadcast industry who have left because of the challenges that the industry is going through, and television is struggling with this as well. I mean, we see friends of ours on the television side that lose their jobs and are constantly switching jobs because it's incredibly competitive, and also because the industry is in such a flux. And so I'm sure that there's probably somebody out there who misses being behind this microphone just like I did.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people out there that have been discarded by the radio industry or media in general, traditional media, in recent years. So I don't know. I see Cords just put up, and every time we reference Cords, by the way, Cords is the owner of Bake More Pies.
And if you haven't noticed in our Stuff You Should Know rundown, it's his birthday today.
Oh, so, happy birthday, Mr.
Speaking of which, we
owner.
need to take a little break for you to go get that thing.
Okay. All right, well, let's do this then. We're going to go to Bake More Pies, right? Or are we going to, Bake More Pies?
Yeah, go to the either the YouTube channel or the Facebook page.
I'm right here on Facebook, so we'll do that. We'll play a little bit of music, and this was, set this up. This was from...
So this was last week, I believe. This is our monthly music showcase that we produce here at Bake More Pies downstairs in our main studio. We bring in a local band every month to be showcased by us and the Gasparilla
You guys
Music
live
Festival.
streamed. You guys live streamed your White Elephant Christmas.
Oh man, that was Actually,
awesome.
If it wasn't so short, I'd tell you to play that now. But it's only like 2 minutes long.
Oh, it's too bad because I see you added snowflakes and everything. That's awesome.
Oh no! But what's even better is the double dice.
I
gift
see that
game.
now.
That we definitely got to play because that was very cool, very fun.
Well, screw it. Let's pull that
the white
up
elephant. No, the white elephant thing's only like 2 minutes, so we'll play that when you get back. But I'm sorry, not the white elephant. The double dice game is what we need to play because that was very cool, and I wanted. I saw this on Facebook, and I thought it was so much fun, and they actually ran with it. For Beasley ran with it for us to do as part of the office situation.
All right. Good morning.
All right, so I'm gonna switch over to that.
Showcase powered by the Gasparilla Music Festival coming up a chance for you to win Gasparilla Music Festival tickets on sale right now at GasparillaMusic.com. But first, let's kick things off. In the house tonight, American Songbox. Let's do this.
It's so easy falling in love. You gotta believe me, it's easily done. Give it a run and you're falling in love. And you can be with anyone that you want under the sun. Cause once you've begun, there's no better fun than falling in love. And before you even know, it gets right up against you. Now you're cheek to cheek and you're dancing toe to toe. Tickles your stomach with its fingers. Oh, and you're such a little so-and-so. You are the stuff that stars are made of. Whoa, whoa. And it feels so good, there ain't no letting go. So tell me what you're so afraid of. When it's so easy falling in love. You gotta believe me, oh, it's easily done. Give it a run and you're falling in love. Oh. Go and be with anyone that you like under the sun. Cause once you've begun, there's no better fun than falling in love. Oh, falling in love. And when it comes and hits you up in your face, sends you into outer space. And all your friends, they come around, but you're nowhere to be found. You're off the ground. Cause it's so easy falling in love. Hey! Oh, go and be with anyone that you like, that you want under the sun.
are watching the Wake.Show on Facebook Live, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, and the audio version at Mixlr, Mixlr. There you go. I love that, man. I wish I was here that night.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, man. Those guys are awesome. Again, the name is American Songbox. I highly recommend everybody check them out, AmericanSongbox.com, or you can go to the Bake More Pies Facebook page to watch the whole performance.
Now, they're going to be part of the Gasparilla Music Festival? Or is that something different?
That's still, I guess, up for negotiations.
Okay.
You know, we're not involved in those conversations. I know ideally, I'm sure they'd love to be. Actually, Dave is somebody that we're going to have on the show. I think this week. I got to firm up with him when he's coming in. But he's going to talk about not only give us some insight as to kind of what that process is like, but also maybe even give us some hints on who else is going to be in the lineup. The Roots is the headliner.
That's cool.
That's been announced so far, along with Father John Misty and Spoon. Those are the ones that people seem to be the most excited about. But I'll see if we can also snag some more tickets to give away. It's going to be March 10th and 11th at the Curtis Hickson Park in downtown Tampa.
Coming up at 8:30, we'll talk a little nutrition. You're like, come on, Fish. We don't need to talk diets. This is that week in between Christmas and New Year's. It is just a wasted conversation. No, this is a preparatory conversation, if that's even a word. This is going to get us in the right. Just remind us that right around the corner, come next Monday, or Tuesday, come next Tuesday, that we're all going to, try to eat right. So we'll be talking to Eric. Do we want to take any bets right now? What he's going to be bringing to the table, superhero wise?
I'm gonna go for Marvel. I think he'll bring Marvel.
I love that he's doing this, but I also feel like, man, this is gonna be a lot of pressure. The first week he comes on, I think it was Batman. Then he was a shelf on an elf, and then he was breathing fire. Bane. He's been he had the lightsaber. Yeah, Darth Vader one week. So we'll see what Eric has for us this morning.
He started off with a very high bar, so I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if he's going to be able to keep it up.
I want to talk to him about how do you keep track of your food intake on a holiday, on Christmas, because there's no, it would take me an hour to sit down and try to break down, because you're picking all day long. You've got 10 different meals that are out there that you're just constantly going through.
Yeah.
And so, or maybe in those instances, he's just like, don't worry about it. Just load in generic stuff. It's a wasted day. You probably had 8,000 calories. And you Michael Phelpsed it up on Christmas Day. Yeah. But we'll be talking to him here in just a couple of minutes. Let's get to stuff you should know. The eastern United States and Midwest are being clobbered with a brutal cold front that will stretch through the week and probably make New Year's Eve a frigid affair in many cities after an unusually cold Christmas. Quote, more of the country will be dealing with this bitter cold, says CNN meteorologist Gene Norman. We'll have one Arctic blast tonight, another towards the end of the week and into the weekend, and right now there's about 48 million people under a wind chill advisory. 48 million!
Well, Sarah chimed in, who watches the show daily. She says it's 10 below.
And she's in Minnesota, right?
In Minnesota, yeah.
Jeez.
A friend of mine just left Tampa to Minnesota. You couldn't pay me to get on a plane right now to go from Tampa to Minnesota.
Shares of the U.S. department stores jumped on Tuesday as MasterCard Incorporated said shoppers spent over $800 billion this season. Not this year. Not this year. This season. More than ever before, boosted by growing consumer confidence, rising employment, and early discounts. The richest people on the planet became even richer. Good for them. Became $1 trillion richer in 2017. That is more than 4 times last year's gains. And as stock markets shrugged off economic, social, and political divisions to reach record highs. Now, this they compile by taking the 500 richest people in the world and crunching their numbers every single year. So the 500 richest people in the world got 4 times richer this year than they did last year. Again, I'd like to reiterate, good for them. Deputies arrested a man they say left 3 young children on the side of a busy road on Christmas night. That is a good man. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office says 54-year-old James Williams was in a crash along Turkey Creek Road in Plant City, fled the scene on foot, leaving the children in a state of panic. They were sitting there screaming on the side of the road. Family members say the children are 7, 10, and 11 years old. Not only because this guy had a criminal record, and I guess he couldn't afford to stick around as these cops did their thing. I don't know if he was carrying or something was going down. He
well,
did.
This is when this is the time of year when horrible parents reveal themselves. I mean, we talked about the shoplifting mom yesterday who also abandoned 2 of her kids after trying to flee police, getting caught shoplifting.
Well, speaking of horrible parenting, I want to play a video from Fisher Christmas. I'm going to play a scene from. I should have brought it. I always do this. Now there's another video that pops in my head. The one I did post on my personal Facebook page.
Yeah.
Where all the Fisher kids.
Oh, that's what the one you were talking about.
Oh no. But I should have pulled that one up too. I can do that real quickly. I got that kind of power.
All
right. Anyway, let's get the stuff you should know. We'll get back to that here in just a couple minutes. All right. Rihanna has called for an end to gun violence after the death of her cousin. The singer posted a picture of herself with a young man who is believed to have been killed in a shooting in her native Barbados on Boxing Day. She wrote, "R.I.P. cousin. Can't believe it was just last night that I held you in my arms. Never thought it would be the last time I felt the warmth of your body. Love you always, man. End gun violence." And Bucks defensive tackle Silver Saliga stopped in a South Tampa Applebee's for dinner on New Year's Eve, looked around, realized how many people were working and not spending time with their families, called the manager over, said, "How many people are working?" The manager said, 10. And he goes, "All right, here's $1,000. Give everybody here $100. And that wasn't just the servers either. That was included everybody in the kitchen. They were cleaning floors. Whoever was working that night all got an extra $100 that night.
What restaurant?
That was Applebee's in South Tampa.
Got it.
And that is stuff you should know for today.
Hey, we didn't touch on the new policy at Disney. We have it here on the rundown.
All right, we can get to that. Let's see here. Some of these that I pull out, I don't have in the stuff you should know, but they're for major discussions.
Got it.
And let's get to the one you're talking about here.
Because I think this is fascinating, especially given what transpired earlier this year in Vegas.
So this is strange.
You think it's strange?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Yes. I don't know that I like this. Disney is getting rid of the do not disturb signs.
Yeah.
And putting on, just they'll be simple like occupied. But in this, the policy is changing as well where, I guess it used to be if one of those signs were on the door, maintenance couldn't go in or the cleaning housekeeping wouldn't go in.
Right.
Now they're like, nah, all that's off the table. We will enter your hotel room at any time. It's not like we're just going to kick down the doors. We'll call you first and say, hey, we're coming by for some routine maintenance or a welfare check or whatever it is they're going to say. But we reserve the right to walk in at any time. So Disney has started updating their security policies. Guests staying at one of the 3 monorail hotels, the Grand Floridian, Polynesian, and Contemporary Resort near the Magic Kingdom, have already experienced tighter security policies, which include the removal of the Do Not Disturb door sign. The markers have been swapped out for room occupied signs that will alert maintenance and staff that guests are currently in the room, but will not stop that staff from going in. The sign accompanies another new policy which requires Disney employees to enter each hotel room at least once a day. So, like me, especially my single days, I should say, I would do that. If I got into a hotel room, sometimes, not all the time, but I would put that thing on there day one and leave it on all weekend long. I didn't want anybody coming in, not even to turn over my stuff. I'm like, nah, just stay out. I just want to, be by myself. Well, that's exactly the kind of person they don't want in their hotels anymore. Somebody who wants to be by themselves and be antisocial.
Well, again, I think it's a safety issue. I think they saw what happened in Las Vegas. They saw that that a situation like that could have been avoided had someone had access to that room. And this guy setting up what he did, really allowed him to execute a large number of people. And I think they know what an opportunity it would be to do something like that from a hotel room at Disney. I mean, you'd look at the Contemporary or the Grand Floridian, who they get a lot of foot traffic. I mean, you get a lot of people coming through those hotels that aren't even staying in that building. And I think they fear something similar happening and them being responsible for that to some extent. I think they'd rather take that liability than worrying about stuff missing and people maybe being uncomfortable with others going into the room. Yeah,
we'll see how this plays out. Under the old rules, when you would have that do not disturb sign on your door, employees would walk right by, no big deal. Yeah. But now Disney says the hotel and its staff reserve the right to enter your room for any purpose, including but not limited to performing maintenance and repairs, or checking on the safety and security of guests and property. But now they're required to walk in your room once a day. You're not going to be allowed. They'll knock first. I mean, so if you're in there, whatever, you'll knock first.
Right.
And you say, hey, I'm sleeping. Housekeeping. You come in.
Yeah. Well, look, a friend of mine who watches this show, she's messaging me right now. She works for Disney, and she's saying that there's apparently people in the company that don't agree with the policy either, but it's pretty much been decided and already implemented by the higher ups. I mean, this, of course, is going to affect customer experience, which they're very big on. But again, I think this is more of a safety issue than anything.
Now, like Johnny was saying, some have hypothesized that the tightened security measures are in response to Las Vegas, the shooting there at Mandalay Bay that claimed the lives of 58 people. According to Walt Disney, the monorail resorts have similar vantage points into crowded areas. However, Disney themselves officially have not said why it was they're implementing these policies the way they are. I don't know if I like that. I understand why they're doing it, and like Johnny was saying, I get it when you think of the vantage points that each one of those resorts have. If somebody could get holed up there and slowly work in weapons like that guy did at Mandalay Bay, then you would have a horrific vantage point.
Yeah, I mean, is anyone suing Mandalay Bay? I mean, I don't know.
Yes, they were on that within days.
And so I think they're looking at that, and they're obviously seeing what a tragedy that was. I think that would severely tarnish the Disney legacy if they were to do something like that on Disney property. And short of scanning people's bags as they check in, I think this is the next best thing.
Yeah. All right. Coming up in 5 minutes, we'll check in with Eric Stratman of TNL Nutrition Coaching, talk a little dietary stuff over the holidays. It'll fall on deaf ears, but like I said, I feel like these last few weeks have been getting us all set up, for success going into the new year for those of us who are going to try to alter our diets just a little bit. We were talking a little bit earlier about the Tampa Bay Buccaneer player who left $100,000 worth of tips this Christmas Eve. Oh, by the way, Cords, don't go too far. Johnny, when are we going to have Cords on?
Probably after Eric.
All right, so
you can come back.
All right, make sure you come back. But for those of you that watch the game and are frustrating, another frustrating Sunday for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, an ugly screaming match that erupted into a scuffle between teammates in the locker room following the Bucs' 22-19 loss at the Carolina Sunday involved the offsides penalty by defensive tackle Chris Baker. Now, we heard reports, Sunday and going into Monday that there was screaming and yelling coming out of the Tampa Bay Buccaneer locker room, which is never good. A team is in disarray when you've got that kind of stuff happening in the locker room. Well, apparently, this is TampaBay.com. Apparently, several Bucs players took issue with Baker smiling and the lack of remorse attitude following the game. During the incident captured on a post-game radio show, linebacker Levante David is heard yelling to stopping Jameis. He's going, Jameis, yo, Jameis, trying to stop him. Then middle linebacker Quan Alexander begins swearing at Baker. David left the interview to intervene. Here was the flashpoint. The Bucs were up 19-15 with 3:05 to play, and the ball was on the Panthers' 31-yard line. It was 4th and 7. Coach Dirk, what's his last name? Cutter, yep. Tried to make it a 7-point lead. Patrick Murray missed that might be a telling for his future. I don't even know his last name. I can't even recall it in the moment. Patrick Murray missed a 51-yarder wide right. The Panthers took over at the Tampa Bay 41, and in 4 plays were deep into Bucs territory. Facing 4th and 3 at the 5-yard line, Baker was warned by defensive tackle Gerald McCoy and others to watch the hard count of quarterback Cam Newton, who had drawn several encroachment penalties. Yeah, he had a good hard count, Baker said. We were aware of that at the beginning of the game. We've got to be aware of his hard count. I just had a mental error because right before the snap, Gerald and the other guys told me to be alert for the hard count, and I just got anxious and made a bad play. Well, McCoy confirmed he had warned Baker. Yes, I did. Whatever. Moving on. Next, quote unquote. The penalty made it much easier, 4th and 1 situation for the running back Jonathan Stewart to convert. On the next play, Newton fumbled the snap, but still ran for the winning touchdown. Baker, who signed a 3-year, $15.75 million contract as a free agent from the Redskins, hasn't lived up to the expectations this season. He has 32 tackles and half a sack. What's more, some players and coaches feel as if his attitude has been poor from the beginning. So this has been mounting. If they feel like this guy's attitude's been poor from the very beginning in terms of effort, especially given what the Bucks are paying him. Unfortunately, the level of accountability demonstrated in the locker room Sunday didn't happen earlier in the season or in training camp. So it looks like this had been building, and then this guy commits a mental error that cost them that essentially cost them the game, and he was smiling afterwards. He wasn't beating himself up. There was no remorse, and it just irked the other players, and that's why they went after him the way they did after the game. So that was a little insight in case you were you heard that there was rumblings in the locker room of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this past weekend, but didn't know the details of it. Coming up in a couple minutes, we will check in with Eric Stratman, and but before that, let's go ahead and get some of the details. I told you we would get a little bit, get some more of the details of this man who abandoned his kids on Christmas. Now, it was a great uncle. It wasn't the father. It was a great uncle. Oh, okay. Deputies arrested a man, they said, left 3 young children on the side of a busy road on Christmas night. Oh, what a horrible story.
It just sounds like something right out of a movie.
It does. And, every time I read something like this, I flash forward. And I picture these kids that are 7, 10, and 11. They're, 21, 24, 25, and people are exchanging stories about their childhood. And they're going around the table. You're sitting there drinking, and, oh, yeah, this happened to me as a kid. This happened. And then one of these kids will chime in and go, yeah, well, on Christmas night, my uncle left me on the side of the road to flee from the cops. 54-year-old James Williams was in a crash along Turkey Creek Road in Plant City. He fled the scene on foot, leaving the children screaming and crying. They say Williams is a great uncle of the children. The entire family had just finished celebrating Christmas in Tampa with many other cars packed with toys. Some of the kids got into Williams' car and to drive back to Plant City. They didn't realize there was an accident until deputies called. On top of leaving the children, witnesses and family members say he had the children help him evade deputies by having them assist in hoisting him over a wall in a surrounding neighborhood. Oh, man. There's a part of me that just wants to have a conversation with us. Just meet, what kind of person? Yeah. What are you that you're going to leave small children on the side of the road? You're fleeing from the cops
on Christmas night.
And you're having the kids, as they're screaming and crying, help you get over a wall. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to every family in America who has somebody like that as a family member. They started crying and screaming and yelling for help. One of the witnesses said, I could tell he was definitely trying to cover himself, take care of himself before the kids. He has a lengthy criminal history. The Florida Department of Corrections shows that he's been in and out of prison several times for drugs and theft. And I told you that the best line in the story is the last line in the story. Family members say they do not plan to bail him out of jail.
Nice.
Thank you. It's better than family members covering up for him, not talking to police. Family members say, you can rot in jail, you POS. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should have a POS story of the day, because there's always somebody like this.
Oh, yeah.
Always somebody like this in the news. All right, well, let's get to our waistlines. We're going to go ahead and connect now with Eric Stratman from TNL Coaching. If you're tuning in late to the show, the big news this morning is that Johnny Torres has been offered an amazing opportunity to work for the federal government. When I say it like that, does it make you want to back out?
It does. It's just like, it just puts like a ickiness to it. Because liberals like to kind of point out, they're like, well, if you hate the government so much, then why are you working for it? And that sort of thing. Or, why don't you resign? And
no, I understand. When that was one of the great things about that television show, Parks and Recreation, was Ron Swanson, one of the greatest television characters of all time, was so anti-government. He was an anti-government libertarian, but worked for the government. For the city. All right. Oh, you are at work this morning, Eric. I didn't know if you'd be on your couch this morning with your kids.
No, sir.
Is that Ilsa?
Elsa, you better get it right. And And what did we hear all through that movie, if you guys don't know it, is the song Let It Go.
Mm-hmm.
Let it go, let it go.
Yep.
So I thought that was a great theme this morning. Also, I didn't leave with any of my son's great dress up. So I was like, hey, man, I got Elsa on my bag that my daughter, my little reminder of her, she put it on Daddy's bag. So I said, well, hey, that's a great theme to start out with, right? Here we go. 2017 nutrition. Let it go, baby.
Don't blame the stuff on your kids. You know damn well that all those costumes you've been putting on every week are all yours. You got sitting around the gym there.
Well, I didn't say I didn't give them to them. They were mine. And then I just leave them in their room.
So is this your new facility that's behind you?
Yeah, dude. Check this beast
Holy
out.
cow.
This is
That's
legit.
serious business right there.
That is nice. Yeah, I saw on
we ain't messing around here.
Yeah, I saw on Facebook last week that you were opening up a new facility there in New York.
Yeah, so here's the logo right here. You got the the old X, but it's CrossFit
nice.
Exalt. And we're excited here. I wish I could maybe if the lights come on right at the end of the show, I'll show you guys out here. This is almost 100,000 square foot facility.
Wow.
I'm just in the fitness portion of it, which is where I do it, but this is because up north they have tons of these indoor facilities that people rent out to go on the turf, to use a track, to play basketball, to practice all their sports. And when it's 9 degrees outside and snowing, you got to have a place to go. So,
well, congratulations on that. Let's start right here because we want to get to fitness goals for 2018. Yeah. A lot of people will be, like myself, will be gearing up to try to turn things around come Jan 1. And,
absolutely.
But let's talk about this past Christmas because I made a joke on Tuesday morning when we came in here that my Fitness Pal, which is where we're supposed to load in, track all of our food and all of our intake, it started to cuss me out on Monday. Because it wasn't even noon. It wasn't even noon, and my app's going, buddy, you got to stop. I don't know what you're doing, but you're on the road to killing yourself. We started off with a breakfast casserole, which is just like 8 eggs and has all the biscuits in it and 2 packages of the sausage gravy plus the sausage, all that kind of stuff. And that's just the beginning of the day, of course.
Yep.
So I don't know exactly how many calories I put in my body on Monday, but I got to think it's in the 5,000, 6,000 range.
I'd probably get you in the 10 Gs.
Okay.
If you've had a couple adult beverages, it adds up really fast.
There was only a couple. Had we not decided to come in and do this show the next morning, then yeah, I would have turned it on because some people did bring some good drink, including some moonshine,
nice.
But I could only have a sip. But anyway, so how, what do you say to your clients when it comes to those holiday eating?
Buddy, we're going back to the beginning of the show.
Let it go.
Let it go.
So let it go. Don't worry about it. You have that day.
She's singing it, So, but it's, she says the cold never bothered me anyway. Well, the food never bothered me anyway because I really emphasize that point, and I want to have that theme every week. It's consistently average, always trumps seldom perfection. So if we know we're going to have a day a week or a half a day a week that we go off the rails, or it's a holiday, it's a Christmas party, that's okay. Let it happen because you don't gain 30 pounds in one meal. You don't lose 30 pounds in one day. Important for people to understand that we're logging our food, we're seeing where we're at, we're hitting the calories we're supposed to, as well as we're starting to focus on how much protein, how much carbs, how much fat we're taking in. So now we have this great opportunity to really help ourselves by just logging it. And I want to tell you, my hat's off to you guys. I'm proud of you. You guys, logging your food, that's a big change. So you guys are getting consistent. So it's great to see that. And I want to make sure that, you guys understand that's the first step in this process for anybody, is just logging it and seeing what's actually happening. It's great to go, well, I think I'm doing okay. You could put on the blinders, but, drive your car with a blindfold and let me know how well you do getting to where you're going. That's the same thing of what we're doing, is we take the blindfold off and actually map out what you're supposed to be doing, how you're going to do it. And we've got, we're your GPS, we're Google Maps for you, man. We're going to tell you, if you turn the wrong turn, let me show you a different route. we're rerouting. It's not like, hey, back up and go back there. Everybody thinks they need to get back on that perfectly straight line. Man, we like to go down country roads sometimes, and we like to, go into little rabbit holes and go visit Grandma's Pie, or, the breakfast scramble, with all the biscuits, or shake up some hash browns with salt. That's okay. But we want to make sure that you guys understand that that's okay. It's just if you're logging it, it keeps you mentally accountable to what you're eating, and it allows, like me, the coach, to see what you're eating. And then when we go through the measurements of body fat weekly, again, you're not going to gain 4 inches on your waist in a week. You're not going to gain 14 pounds in a week. It could happen, but it's not going to stay permanently. So we want to make sure you guys stay there.
I didn't even think I have to, bring up my photo from this morning. Here, I don't know if I can bring this up over the top of you. No, I don't think I can.
Did you just say you're going over the top of me?
Yeah, I think I said something that outrageous. Oh, never mind then.
I'll have to bring up that picture from jiu-jitsu back in the day when you were on top of me.
That is funny. Yeah, we'll have to track that one down. All right, so what am I supposed to do now? I don't want to get rid of him. I just want to minimize him a little bit. And then, see, this is why I can't lose you, Johnny Torres.
I know.
I can't even figure out how to slide over.
Don't make me small, please.
Try the little button there next to the
Minimize.
hang up.
There we go. That's going to make it bigger.
You
It's
can't
full
minimize
screen.
it, baby.
That's full screen. Exit full screen.
Now when that bar comes up, that gray bar, try to pull that down. Now hit the full screen button again.
All right. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry that every single week we have to go through this. I'm sorry that I'm too stupid to understand basic effing technology.
No, it's tricky. I mean, it even took me a while to figure out. Hold on.
You know what? Never mind. Okay, I'm not going to pull up. After we hang up with him, I'll pull it up. But last week when I weighed in, it was 248.6 or 248.4. This week it's 246.4. Down 2 pounds from last week.
And dude, look, and how exciting is that you still had Christmas? That was on Christmas weekend that you went through.
Yep.
And we still had some loss. So that's what's exciting about it. When you start tracking it, then mentally you can get into, hey, I have this allotment every day, because we're not that nutrition program that does hey, you're going to have 500 calories and we're going to do some very extreme things. You guys can see that. I think you guys can agree that you're allotted a good amount of calories every day. You're not, on this minimalist diet by any means. You guys get quite a bit of calories. It's just a matter of how you want to consume them.
All right, so before we get you off, a little bit of advice for people who are setting goals for next year. What's the best way to approach, that state of mind?
Hire a coach.
Well done.
But it's really, going around that. It's just like I said, if you need to go somewhere, you're going to look up Google Maps and see how to do it. But I would definitely tell everybody to get MyFitnessPal. It's a free app. They got that premium version. It's like $40 a year. Definitely helps out if you prepare a lot of your own food, but track your food. That's number one. And then you can start to see, because it automatically will upload some general goals. You guys both saw that when you downloaded the app and you put in your goals and your and your weight and what your goal weight is, that you see that there's not an issue with the goals they set forth, but then getting something specific with your protein, fat, and carbs is what we want. But just having them log their food and then kind of go by that as a gauge to see how much they're actually eating every day. And when you use that app, as I told you guys, turn off the steps, turn off the activity on it, because when you let the MyFitnessPal track your activity and how your phone moves, it actually adds calories to your daily allotment. And we want to, kibosh that. We want you to just eat the calories that is supposed to be there. We don't want it to add for additional activity.
Okay. Eric Stratman, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you hopping on with us and getting us prepared over the last 4 or 5 weeks. And I'm looking forward to next year. I'm looking forward to...
I got a lot of good shenanigans planned for this coming year. But, guys, Merry Christmas. God bless you and your families. Happy New Year, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week.
All right, man. We'll talk to you.
All right, bye.
Bye. All right, get that, do that. And now if I hit what, Alt, the Command W, is that what you were saying?
Yeah.
All right, that does that. Now I'll bring over this. Not that it really matters or adds that much to anything, but there's my Fred Flintstone feet. There's my Fred Flintstone feet on the scale.
Man,
this morning.
those are ugly.
Those are some jacked up feet. I'm dehydrated. Man, there's some hairy ass toes too. I was fresh out of the shower. You know, you have to take the camera and make sure when you first aim, you're like, oh, well, I got to get a little closer to my feet. Otherwise, my scrote's going to get into the picture.
Oh.
What? My old man scrote. There you go. Down 2 pounds from last week. I don't know how that's even possible.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's the practice of tracking. It is the literal practice of just tracking what you eat. You are psychologically restraining yourself from eating less of what you're not supposed to be eating. I mean, it's you're second guessing everything that you consume, whether you think you are or not.
This is a huge part of this, because and it's not an easy part of my personality. I'm not a keep track of things, balance checkbooks, write stuff down. You know, that is just not in my makeup at all. It is a very difficult task for me to pull off.
Yeah.
But I'm slowly every week I'm loading in more and more food, more and more days, and it does help out a lot because when you go to load that stuff in, like the other morning, I had a great breakfast. It was 2 eggs, toast, water. And I went, okay, that's a good start to the day. It's
Nice.
good start right there. Let me load, because then I'm excited. Then I load that in. Then my next meal, I don't want to mess up, a good start to the day.
Sure.
Now those mornings that start off with a McGriddle and a bag of salt.
Yeah.
Those are different days.
Well, in you are watching, right? So you're like, oh man, like if I have this, that's going to put me over my calorie count, and it's just that competitive nature that I think is inside of us that you're like, you don't want to blow your calorie count.
So my goal, I'm sitting at 246 right now. I would like to see 222.
Okay.
222. That's not a lot to ask.
I'd say my goal's probably around the same.
It's at 24 pounds. And then at that point, we'll assess from there because normally all my numbers look good as long as I'm below like 235. And but I'm also getting older, so I'm sure need to cut out some of the fat off my body. So how many rednecks do we have watching this morning?
I'd say
enough.
there's a good chance that there's probably about 50% watching.
All right, I want to bring up this video from a Fisher Christmas over the weekend, and this was an amazing holiday.
You showed me this one, and
Actually, I can go ahead and hit play.
I swear, I thought you were playing this off of Facebook.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, that it wasn't us? That wasn't me?
Yeah.
Oh, no, this is us. This is the Fishers.
All right, you gotta give us a little bit of a description here.
I'm in the Jeep. This is redneckery at its finest. This is late in the night on a Saturday. This is the back roads of the forest, as we call it. And all of a sudden, some of us jump into a Jeep. My brother's driving. And there's kids in the back of the Jeep. And then what you're seeing here, that's one of my nieces. She is 11 on the back. And then there's another little one on the front of that four-wheeler. And that is my brother, Kevin, driving. So we take off into the woods, and this is I don't know, this is rednecky type of stuff, and I'm not ashamed of it at all. I get a little scared every now and again because once we take off and start going deep, I realize that Kevin is just going to keep going deeper and deeper into the woods. My brother Jason is just going to follow him. There might have been a few drinks throughout the day, so none of us should be out here doing this stuff.
I think might have an understatement.
But
you're pushing it.
I was thinking of you. Well, I was thinking of when those conversations come down to conservatives and liberals, and da da da. And this is one of those where I go, this would make the liberals lose their damn mind.
Oh sure.
You're out making very bad decisions
Yeah.
with children. Oh, what happened?
Lights go
Turn it
up.
back on.
And that's when we ran over her. She fell off the back and we ran over her.
Now you need to turn them off because it's running into a tree. Yeah.
Did he?
Because you know
intentionally
damn
turn
well
off the
Kevin
lights
will
to
lead
see
you
how
into a
dark it
hole.
was?
What's that, Johnny?
Did he intentionally turn off the lights to see how dark it was?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I'm not in control since I'm in the passenger seat, so I don't like that. And the deeper we get heading out towards this one particular lake, I'm like,
Are there 2 or 3 people on that motorcycle?
There are 3. There's one in the back and one in the front, and Kevin's driving.
Got it.
And I can't remember who's on the front of this thing, but I think it's one of her friends. So I'm getting a little. I can't lie. I'm getting a little nervous because this is what I picture. We're gonna get to some place where the 4-wheeler can go, but the Jeep can't.
Yep.
Also, my brother's Jeep is a piece of crap. He has to like work on it every day to get it moving. And so all I could picture was us getting stuck out there, and it's already late. We're supposed to be leaving like in 20 minutes to go home, but we didn't. It was good.
Turn it around here. Can we turn around here? Because I'm kind of with. Okay. All right. All right. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Were you the buzzkill?
Yes, that was me. I'm glad I turned it up right at the right time. Can we? That's me being scared. Can we turn around, please, Dad? I'm getting nervous. All right. With that, though, because I can airdrop another video. All right. I want to show
you. Have the other one posted on Facebook. I saw. I think
just pull it up from Facebook?
Yeah,
okay.
You can just pull it up from Facebook. I remember you posted it yesterday, I think.
Okay. This is what I'm going to do because I definitely want to show you guys this because this will definitely send those who are really, really, I guess, falls in that category of liberal, will drive them absolutely insane. So here we go.
Cord says, up next, cow tipping.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I guess I better stop that one first. I don't make this TV work too hard. Boom. Boom. And then boom. So, what you're witnessing here is another fine Fisher family moment. And it is having the children. All right. Most of these kids are related to me. And it's having the children. This is what I'm filming from another part of the property here. This is my brother Jason over here to the right, and I see my wife and my sister-in-law, and then all the kids. All the kids have Nerf guns. We were instructed to make sure that everybody brings Nerf guns because there'll be Nerf gun wars. Such a violent family we are.
You are.
I know. And so, and this is also my mom.
And violence.
This is also my mom lining up the kids to all shoot my brother so he can take a picture of it. Right?
I need it like that. Hey, buddy. Black shirt over in the middle. All right.
This is so politically incorrect these days, you know?
It's sad, but it is.
That's my mom, the grandmother, cheering. Yay!
Is that her in the red?
Yeah, that's my mom in the red there.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm related to most of those kids that are up there, but there's a couple of them that I'm not.
Violent children.
I know. Are we a horrible family?
No.
Are we a horrible family?
No.
Are we a horrible family in the eyes of certain Americans?
Most likely.
Yeah. I just wanted to share that little insight into my family there. Also knowing that it's going to make people, because there's also a part of me that it was going, man, is this a great idea?
Look, I mean, I played with guns and stuff as a kid. Not real guns. I played with toy guns and things as a kid.
Cops and robbers. And
I never, till this day, I don't own a gun. I didn't serve in the military. I haven't shot anyone. I haven't, it's so to assume that it's somehow going to shape your view of the world is absolutely preposterous. And I just wanted to use the word preposterous.
Very nice. Will you be using? Those are the kind of words now that you're going to have to use the big words now that you're moving into big time politics.
Sure.
I'm going to miss you. I'll
be around.
Stop. I'm going to miss your talents. I'm going to miss your talents and what you bring to the table every single morning. All right, we ready for chords?
I know it's a little different, it's slightly different than I think what people maybe are used to, but I've also changed. I mean, I kind of wish that I was the guy I am today back when I was in radio. I mean, I just think because obviously you need to have kind of a different skew, to really carve out a niche for yourself in that business.
You're saying you have to be a little
weird?
weird?
I think I have it now. Whereas before I was mostly just trying to fit in, right? Like I was just trying to be that top 40 jock. I was just trying to be like
a cool kid.
Sure, yeah. I mean, you want to kind of live up to that radio DJ expectation, and now I think I just have such a more unique perspective on life. I wish in many ways, not that this isn't that platform. I think part of the reason I love doing this is because it is that platform in many ways, but I have just such a different, unique perspective on just life in general that, you want to be able to express that.
And you'll be servicing our community now. So what am I going to be calling you for? Can I call you every day?
Well,
and
if you
bitch about the
happen
government?
If you happen to get locked up abroad, and like LeVar Ball's kids.
Okay. All right.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
I know we've resolved passport issues, IRS issues, issues with the VA, for people. I mean.
So anything in those moments where you feel like I need to call my congressman, you'll be that person that's receiving those calls.
You can also call your senator. That's absolutely right.
Or senator, I'm sorry.
There's a team of people across the state of Florida whose sole responsibility is to help constituents navigate issues with the federal government.
All right. Well,
or foreign governments if you find yourself in that precarious situation.
Are we ready for chords?
We are ready for chords. Did you get my link?
Oh, wait.
It's in your messenger.
Messenger? Okay. How you doing, chords?
Excellent.
Let me adjust the cameras a little bit.
You got to turn on the microphone there, get it all jacked up for you.
There we go.
I don't know if I should start.
So while we're doing that, my grandfather once had to call his congressman when he was abroad because pickpockets. So someone pickpocketed him on the airplane. They went up in the little cabinet and grabbed his wallet and had his passport.
So he's just stuck.
And so he actually knew Strom Thurmond, and so he was able to call their office and get his passport issue resolved while he was, in Europe.
Yeah, you see, I see those stuff in movies every now and again where they're trying to get to the consulate, the U.S. Embassy, because they've lost all their stuff.
Consulate, exactly.
Well, and it's also happened to where people's passports have expired while they've been abroad. So little poor planning on their part, but of course you can't fly with an expired passport, and so they've had to expedite passport services to those people who haven't been able to get on their flight home.
All right, Cords, if you could move your attention to behind you.
Is he going to be able to hear it?
Are
you going to?
Oh, yeah, we'll make sure that he can hear it. Well, here, you go ahead and put these on.
All right, let me do that.
Or at least side can it.
Okay, I can hear it.
All right, here we go.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Cord! Sending you lots of love and best wishes for the next decade.
Hi, Cords. I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday, and I really hope that you enjoy your date today.
Happy birthday, Cords.
Hey, Cords. I just wanted to wish you a very happy birthday. I hope you have a wonderful day today and a great year to come.
Hey, Cords. Hope you have a great one.
Hey, Cords. Just wishing you a happy birthday and...
Hi, Cords. Happy birthday. Hope you have a great day today.
Hey, Cords. Since it's your birthday, I have something pretty incredible right behind me here. Let me get you in here to show you. Hold on. I don't know if you knew this, but take a look around at all this. Have you seen this? Isn't that pretty amazing? You did that. In 1 year, in less than 1 year, you did all this, and 2018 is going to be even bigger and better than ever. So, happy 40th. It's been an honor and a privilege to be part of your team, my friend. Happy birthday.
Oh, hey. How you doing? I just wanted to sing you a song is all. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Cords Owen. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday!
That's got to be one of the nicest things anybody's
Oh, we got him.
Yeah.
Got him, Fish.
Good job. Hey, man, that was all you. That was all Johnny there.
Oh,
who
man.
got everybody to to submit something yesterday.
I really appreciate that.
Well, Haley rounded everybody up and got the videos in, and I just threw them together.
Well, I'm glad I'm not the only person tearing up on this show. Happy birthday. How old are you?
Well, I knew I'd get you, Fish. I mean,
oh, yeah. I'm easy.
I'm 40 years old today.
40
years old.
So are you a little bummed because he's a mover and shaker here in the Bay Area, but once you cross some of these mark, like you can't be part of the that 40 under 40 anymore.
That's okay. I'm not that kind of guy anyway.
No,
I'd rather be a little under the radar screen.
All right. Well, so obviously a little bit emotional there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. My sister sent me a text this morning wishing me a happy birthday, and she said, remember, life begins after 40. Everything before that was just research.
Yeah, that's what they always said. If you talk to old timers, they'll say their best if they could go and live a decade over, it's their 40s that they would live, because they have a lot of the stuff behind them, the kids behind them. They've got some security and can go out and be adults and do stuff. So, any big plans for your 40s?
I'm just looking forward. I've got Riley's with us today, so Riley, while we were watching your show, we were out in the break area, we were playing pool and just spending some time together. So that was nice. And then a little bit of work. We got lunch meeting today with Chad.
Very excited about that.
Riley may join us for that. So anyhow, and then just spend time with family.
Well, happy birthday, man.
Thanks, man.
And thank you for everything around here. Congratulations on the success you've had so far with BMP Studios, Bake More Pies, Bake More Music, and then hopefully in the future, the Wake.Show.
Absolutely, especially the Wake.Show.
All right. Happy birthday.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Well done, man. You were able to put that thing together very quickly. Oh, you know what? No. We'll talk about it another time. We'll talk about the director of communications job here at Bake More Music or Bake More Pies another time.
I'm happy to talk about it.
All right, good. That was nice, man. Well done, Johnny.
Thanks,
John.
Yeah, you're welcome. Happy birthday.
Got a couple. We should just end right there. Just end right there. It's 9:00.
Yeah,
that was perfect.
You got karaoke tonight, though, too. Don't forget.
Yeah, so maybe we should end on some karaoke then, because we only have a few more days left.
We don't have to. I just wanted to remind you to talk about it.
Well, I think we should go ahead and pull up some karaoke here.
All right.
Because we only have a few more days with Johnny Torres. He'll be gone by the end of next week and going to work for the federal government, going to work for a sitting senator, Marco Rubio. Very exciting. But we'll be losing a talent. So, what song did you bring up this morning that you could? Oh, yeah, I remember.
That or what was the one I screenshot to you? Hootie, I Go Blind. That one's a fun one too.
I don't have I Go Blind.
Really?
Hold on.
I have to talk to Ed about that.
Go Blind. Nope. So we're gonna go with White Wedding then.
Let's do it.
You excited?
I am.
Let's get on the effects.
I just realized I could sing this one. Right in my wheelhouse.
There we go.
Let's
Welcome
see.
to Karaoke Wednesday every single Wednesday night at Park and Rec downtown St. Pete. Make sure you join me from 8 until midnight. Hosting karaoke. 26-second intro. I can slow down this ramp.
You post it?
I can slow down this post.
You gonna post it?
Hi, you're listening to the Wake.Show. Make sure you join me every Wednesday night from 8 until midnight doing karaoke live. Park and Rec downtown St. Pete. Here's almost.
Hey, little sister, what have you done? Oh, my head. Hey, here we go. Hey, little sister, who's the only one?
Thought you could sing this.
I thought I did. Hey, little sister, who's your Superman? Hey, little sister, who's the one you want? Hey, little sister, shotgun. It's a nice day to start again. It's a nice day for a white wedding.
Come on!
It's a nice day to start again. Hey, little sister, what have you done? Hey, little sister, who's the only one? I've been away for so long, I've been away for so long. I let you go for so long. It's a nice day to start again. Come on, it's a nice day for white wedding. Here we go. It's a nice day to start again.
Well done. Good job.
Park and Rec tonight.
Keep going.
That wasn't awkward at all.
Park and Rec tonight. I don't have the sound effect anymore.
No.
So yeah, come on out. I'm there every single Wednesday. Wednesday night. It's a lot of fun. I would imagine a big crowd tonight. We had a huge crowd last night at Boulevard Burgers for a trivia night.
Cool.
It's one of those things like right after Thanksgiving, things kind of die for a couple of weeks, and they pick up right now. Then they die again in January.
I think people just want to party from Christmas to New Year's.
I asked
just block out that whole week and just party from end to end.
I asked how many people were at trivia last night. I go, how many people here tonight are here because they just wanted either A, to get out of the house because you have relatives in town,
Yep.
or B, you were the relatives they sent out of the house. Hey, why don't you go down to St. Pete Beach for a little trivia night? You guys have a great time. No, trust me. Get the F out of the house for a little bit.
Please.
And there was there was quite a few people that raised their hands.
Look, Christmas Day, man, the Burger King. Now, this is Burger King, which you rarely see. The line at the drive-thru at Burger King was like around the building.
On Christmas Day?
On Christmas Day.
Aw, that's so sad. That's so bad for those people. All right, well, thank you so much for being a part of the Wake.Show today, now streaming on multiple platforms. You can get us on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, and Mixlr for the audio version only on MIXLR, which is really cool. For those of you that don't care to watch this stuff and you're in your car, you want to save data, it really sounds amazing. It sounds better on Mixlr when I listen back to it than it sounds right now in my headphones.
It's crazy, but it absolutely does.
So, all right. Anything you want to get to before we get out of here today?
No, man. Thanks for, chit-chatting about my future plans. What's funny is that I'm sure that unless you were watching the show, most of my friends actually have no idea. I haven't made like an official Facebook announcement. I haven't made it Facebook official yet. So that'll be next. I actually haven't even filled out paperwork yet. So
what was the
hopefully that won't jeopardize it.
Do you have clearance? Like, did you have to go through a process where you get a certain kind of clearance now?
No, I don't think I'll need any of that. I mean, if I were working at the DC office, maybe, but no, not down here.
And I'm sure there was some kind of background check.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there was.
What do you mean you're sure there was? They didn't say, hey, we're doing a background check on you? They're just trusting you?
Well, I've applied. There is a stack of papers that's due to me any day now for me to fill out. So that's probably where the background check will come in.
Oh, so you know your past might come back to haunt you then, and you might end up having to stick with the show. Is what you're saying?
Look, being Colombian, I'm at a disadvantage, and so we don't know what could come up in that background check. I could be a federal liability.
Thank you so much for being a part of the Wake.Show today. Have a great day. Love you, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.